Are you looking to make your life a lot more exciting? Well, look no further than the Leo Out GT88. This is a dual motor scooter that is life-changing. Let's go ahead and let's get into it. Woo! 38, 39, pretty stable, no issues whatsoever. Now the Leo Out GT88 is definitely not your kid style scooter. This is dual motors and each motor has 1400 watts for a total combined peak power of 2800 watts. This thing is absolutely insane. If you lifted up these wheels, you would see the speedometer read 62 miles an hour. Now in reality, that's not actually the speed that you're gonna get it up to. After a few tests, I was able to max this thing out at a real true speed of 45 miles an hour. Now, the display did build up my ego a little bit, telling me that I went 50 miles an hour, when in fact I actually went 45, but still, nonetheless, insanely fast for standing on a 10-inch wheeled scooter. Now, this scooter has a really cool feature where we can fold this thing down to make it a little bit more compact. We can go ahead and flip this knob right there, pop that switch, and bam, there we go. She's folded down, nice and flat, ready to go. On to the next adventure. So you say this isn't compact enough for you? Well, no worries. The GT88 has another trick up its sleeve. The handlebars even collapse really easily. Whenever you're ready to expand them, it's just as easy, if not easier. Bam, back to regular handlebars, and we're almost ready to go ride again. So now that you're back from your adventures and you want to hit up the streets again and take this bad boy out, well, it's really easy to bring it back to life. Just flip the same switch you used to collapse it, pop it right back up, lock this in place, pop down that kickstand, and she's ready to go. One of the other cool features about this GT88 is the different size heights in the handlebars. Most of these scooters nowadays don't actually have this feature, but the GT88 does. You simply just release the quick release, lower this down in up to 3 different positions, all the way down to 31 inches, all the way up to 38 inches. Now, if the fact that this thing folds down and has dual motors isn't a big enough feature for you, well, don't worry. This 21-inch long base by 9-inch wide base is gonna have a 25 amp hour battery built inside. Not only that, it's gonna have 2 29 amp controllers, giving this thing an amazing amount of power output for the size that the scooter actually is. And also, you'll notice the top of this deck is exactly like a skateboard. It's got an amazing grip all the way across it. All right, now let's take a look at the front of this scooter. You will notice real quick that you do get a suspension on the front. This is gonna give you an inch or two of travel, and it is definitely more suited for on-road use than it is off-road use. You do get a nice plastic fender that will keep the water from splashing up on you, some 10-inch off-road knobby tires, and with that you do get the Jake Super Brake style mechanical disc brakes with 140mm rotors. And then if you look deep inside the wheel behind the disc, you will see the first glimpse of the 1400 watt front motor that's on this scooter. And before we go, let's not forget, this does have a front headlight. It's not the best headlight in the world, but it is better than not having a headlight at all. Now looking at the back of the scooter, you're gonna see a lot of things that are gonna be similar to the front, as in the wheels, the motor, the tires, the brakes are gonna be the exact same, but you are gonna get a little bit different suspension. You're gonna get a rear shock. You're also gonna get these little lights right here that kind of bend and flex, so you can't damage them if you accidentally put your foot on them. Now these are going to be turn signals only. These are not brake lights. Your brake lights are gonna actually be down here, which I do wish that these would actually function as a brake light also, because these can be a little bit hard to see with the giant fender that we've got in the back. Now this fender does work relatively well, but I have found if you're out riding more in wet conditions, this fender is pretty far away from the wheel and you do get some splash up from the side. Now you'll notice right here that you do get 2 ports. That's because you get 2 2-amp chargers with this. Not only that, those 2-amp chargers have built-in fans, which is really nice to keep them really cool, but having 2 2-amp chargers allows you to charge this 25-amp battery in around 7 hours. That's super fast. Also staying on the back here, you will notice that you do get this kind of metal shark fin thing that holds the fender on and the rear lights, in addition to the shock. This you can put your feet on. So if you do like to stand back more of like a kind of skateboard style, you can rest your foot on here and not have to worry about breaking or damaging anything that's on the back here. Now let's go ahead and take a look up front here. You are going to get a few really nice features and some that are not so nice. Not so nice are these ergonomic grips. These things twist really easily. I do wish these were lock-on, but unfortunately that is not what they supplied with it. You will get a dual motor switch so you can turn your dual motor on or off. And then you also get an eco and turbo button. The eco will limit you to around 16 to 18 miles an hour, where the turbo allows it to be open full speed. And then up here you are going to get your control system that will display what gear or level that you're in. You have 3 different modes that you can choose from, 1 through 3. You're going to have your speed. You're also going to have a few displays like your tripometer, your odometer are all going to be displayed here, along with your battery life. And then over here on the far side of the display is going to be your throttle control. It's an index finger throttle control. So that's a little bit different than what I'm used to, but it is really common on a lot of scooters these days. Now over here is where your key is to turn the unit on and off, and it's extremely hard to see in bright daylight, but right here is a voltage indicator, which is really nice. So if this drops down to about 42 volts from what I have seen, that's about whenever the scooter is going to be completely dead. So if you don't want to rely on the battery indicator that comes on that display, you can just look at this screen and know that, hey, I'm right around 42 volts. This thing is about ready to run out of battery. And further over to the left, we do get an on-off switch for the lights, and this scooter has a ton of lights. It's got lights on the front, lights down the side, and lights in the back. You'll notice right down here is your turn signals. So this will turn on the turn signals for left and right, and then also you get a built-in horn. It's not super loud, but it's better than nothing. And then swinging around to the front, you will see that these are the mechanical disc brakes. There is no name on them, so they have 0 branding whatsoever, and that's about how they feel. They feel very generic, but they do work relatively well. If it were me and I was going to keep the scooter long term, I would more than likely upgrade this scooter to a set of hydraulic brakes instead of these Jake Super Brakes. I haven't really had good luck with Jake Super Brakes over long-term period, but for the short term, they do seem to work relatively well. All right, so we are at the bottom of the hill that I do all my scooter tests and bike tests on. This one will go up to 19% grade, and it's about 1/10 of a mile. So it's a long enough stretch to really give these motors a test. Let's go ahead, let's put this on level 3, dual motor, and see how fast this thing can actually climb the hill. All right, level 3. Dual motor, turbo mode. Let's give it a push start. And let's just see what this thing can do. All right, this is about 3% here. So we're gonna be getting up to the 12% here really quick. I am full throttle all the way on the gas, going 35, which is realistically about 30 to 32. And here is the 12% grade, getting up to 15. And here comes the 19% grade. We are showing 29, so about 25 miles an hour, cruising up this hill. Absolutely 0 issues. These motors are absolutely beasts. This scooter can really fly. It is probably more power than what almost everybody needs in a scooter. And I think whenever you get above this, you're gonna need things like 11-inch tires, better suspension, and maybe a steering damper. This is about the max that you would wanna go on something like this. It is so powerful, it is unreal. All right, let's head back up here and we'll do the downhill test. We're just gonna get up here and we're gonna let this sucker coast, starting out at about 18 miles an hour. And I'm just gonna do brakes only, but I'm gonna let it go and see until I basically get a little scared. Here we go. Woo! 38, 39, pretty stable, no issues whatsoever. Yeah, that was really good. Got up to a 39 on the speedometer, so probably about 35 in real life. This scooter is surprisingly stable. Now, one thing you do really want to consider whenever you're looking at a high-powered, long-range scooter is the weight. This thing comes in at a massive 70 pounds. It's not light, but the fact that it folds down and it locks into place and you can use the actual handle as a handle to carry it does make a big difference. But take note, if you can't lift 70 pounds, you're definitely going to want to have somebody there to help you if you plan on taking this in and out of your vehicle. Now, one of the things that I really do enjoy about these scooters is that they are so compact and they don't take up hardly any room. So if you live in an apartment or you have a small car and you don't want to worry about having a full-size bike, but you still want to be able to get around town, a high-powered dual-motor scooter is definitely something that you should consider. Now, there is one thing that I have seen that's really odd on this scooter, and I'm not sure what causes it. Sometimes whenever this thing sits here powered on for a while, it will want to jolt forward without any warning. It just jolts forward for a few seconds and then usually falls over. So that's one thing that Leo Out probably needs to fix. I'm not really sure what causes this, but it does affect the GT88 and the SX10, which I'll be reviewing next week. And so there you go, there's the Leo Out GT88. If you want to pick one up, there's some links in the description. Until then, we'll see you guys in the next one.